Simpson from Austin.
We're taking over.
Yeah.
Irma Flores Menges from Austin.
Wow.
I'm Nathan Holiner from San Antonio, Texas.
Way to go. Mark Bobineau from San Antonio in my bed.
Oh,
And I'm John Hale in Canyon Lake, Texas.
Joe Virgil from Austin, Texas. Yeah.
I'm Larry Johnson from San Antonio. This is my first visit to the group.
We're glad to have you, Larry.
I'm Lisa Cation from San Antonio, newly in San Antonio. I'm from Louisiana.
yay, Lisa.
Yay,
My
Louisiana.
first meeting too. Looks like a fun group.
Uh-oh.
Mark Bobineau, Lisa, is also, he's got a lot of roots in Louisiana also. So,
That's right. Way to go, Louisiana.
yeah.
Okay.
Woohoo!
I'm holding on tight, looking for Lucas Miller, one of our tellers. So give it a few more minutes.
Hi, I'm Marilyn Iorio from San Antonio, Texas. It's my first meeting also.
Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, Marilyn. So excited to have so many folks tonight. We want you to keep coming back. We're actually getting started in just about 1 minute, but I wanted to make sure everyone knew that the San Antonio Storytellers Association is hosting this once a month, the very first Wednesday of every month. It's free, and we post it in so many different places, but you might have to look for us sometime. We post on our Facebook page, which is San Antonio Storytellers. We also send out emails. So if you would like us to send you an email saying, you know, when our gathering is going to be with our link, go ahead and you can send me your email through the little chat, which is right on the bottom of your screen. If you push chat, you can send it to Sue Kuentz or just post it there and we'll write it down. We also have our San Antonio Storytellers website. Just type in sanantoniostorytellers.com or .org and you'll find us. But it's always the first Wednesday of every month. We've been doing it since March, I think, and we'll just continue to be doing this, especially with all you friendly folks here who are here as story lovers and storytellers. David Thompson.
Yeah, is it always going to be the same Zoom link?
It used to be, but we're changing it out just so that we have a little bit more security. I know we don't have much security, but we do change it out. And John Hale is our Zoom master.
Cool.
We don't have you register, and we might have to later, but right now you just click on that link and you can join us. Yep. Thank you for asking that. Okay. Well, I think we're missing Lucas. He knows to be here. I've sent him the link, so I bet you he'll be here when he can. Oh, here comes Jane McDaniel. So we'll go ahead and get started. We basically have 1 hour of storytelling. Sometimes I wish it was longer, but then we can always come back the next month. Towards the end, we ask for any of you all to share, if you would like to, a little anecdote, a story that occurred to you because you made a connection to another story, possibly a poem or a song, whatever feels right. We're pretty much there for you. So if you ever want to try that out, you can't go wrong. Everyone has a story to tell, and that could be in a poem, that could be in a song. It's whatever, and it may just be 7 words. It's just whatever you want it to be. And there's Lucas. Okay. Oh, we're getting lots of folks. This is awesome. Okay. Welcome, everybody. I do want everyone to know that we are recording this. And everybody here is so gorgeous, handsome, and beautiful. So we do want to see those faces. And I'll probably be taking pictures of everybody and bragging about how wonderful tonight's going to be. So that's just a little clue into whether you really want to be on screen or not. We hope so. Here comes the first picture. Everybody smile. Ready? Look at the camera. Perfect. Okay, well, let's get going. I see that Lucas is here and Daniel, Jeffrey is here. Awesome. Sue and Russ are here. Thank you all so much. There's a lot of Austinites who are here tonight. So, you know, you guys are the winners. Thank you all so much for supporting all the Austin tellers who are here also. Again, we meet the first Wednesday of every month. It's free. We'd love for you to join SASA anytime you'd like. We do have workshops. We do have fun concerts when they're live. They're even more fun. That will happen. That will happen. So we're excited. Just if you ever would like to join us, we are at sanantoniostorytellers.org or .com. So we'd love to have you. And then you could be part of Austin and San Antonio. And then we could combine and we could have a powerful, huge oh my gosh, it would be amazing.
Central Texas.
Just go Texas, that's right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna warn Nancy that you're gonna be first, but I'm gonna give you a minute because let me introduce Nancy. Nancy is just like the best friend ever. Once I heard her say konnichiwa and speak Japanese a little bit, skoshi bit to me, I realized that we were soul sisters. Come to find out, she is an amazing storyteller. She tells all kinds of stories, but Japanese tales are the ones that just hooked me to her immediately. And then we got to share hotel rooms together when it came to going to the festivals and getting to know all the tellers. It's just been so much fun. Nancy has also written a book and it's pretty amazing. She actually told a story of a chimpanzee that you may never have heard of before that actually went into space. It was the most amazing tale. So to say that she is only a storyteller of Japanese folktales is totally incorrect. She is amazingly talented. And without further ado, I'd like for Nancy Simpson to tell her story. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Sue. My goodness. I kind of think I should leave by the back door now while I still sound good. This is a story of how the animals were chosen for the Japanese zodiac, which is the same as the Chinese zodiac. And if you've ever been to, I don't know, is my picture on yet? Is my picture up or? Okay. If you've been to a Chinese restaurant, you've seen the placemats usually. I don't have a placemat, but I have a plate with the animals on it. The Chinese New Year this year is February 12th. It changes every year. The Japanese New Year is the same time we celebrate, the 1st of January. So this is a story I learned from Hiroko Fujita, storyteller extraordinaire from Kashiwa City in Chiba Prefecture, Japan. She made about 15 trips to the United States, and I was lucky to get to spend lots of time with her, and she's shared lots of stories. So this is the origin of Junishi, the animals of the zodiac. And Japanese stories start with Mukashi Mukashi Aru Tokoro ni, which you can probably guess is once upon a time, long, long ago. Now this was so long ago that all the animals were friends. They all lived in friendship, even cat and rat. Well, the sky god considered the cycle of 12 years, and he decided that he would like to have an animal represent each year in the 12-year cycle. Now, how to choose 12 animals? Well, he could pick the fastest or the prettiest or the slowest or the whatever. But at last he decided, I'll send beautiful red invitations with golden lettering to the animals, and those who want to be in the zodiac can come to have a year named after them, can come to my sky palace, my palace gate on January 2nd, and the first 12 to arrive will be in the zodiac. So he sent his helper down to Earth with the invitations. Now, the helper, of course, was used to walking on nice fluffy white clouds. So when he got to Earth, well, he stumbled on the rocks and the cracks and the sticks and the stones, and the wind caught those invitations and sent them everywhere. Now, when the sky god, when the helper returned to the sky god, he said, that's okay. That's all right. Better for you for the wind to do the traveling than you. So on the day of the animals are all very excited. And on the day, the appointed day, January 2nd, Ox, Ushi, had decided that he would get up when the moon was still in the sky, because he knew that he was dependable and honest, but he was not very fast. He was plodding. So while the moon was still in the sky, Ox started walking to the sky god's palace. No sorrow, no sorrow. Now, what he didn't know was Mouse, Nezumi, had jumped onto his horn where Ox couldn't feel him, and he was riding along, because Mouse knew that he had to leave at least when the moon was still in the sky, that he would never get there on time with such tiny legs. So they got to the sky god's palace and waited at the gate. And when sky god came to open the gate, Pyong! Nezumi jumped in, was first animal of the zodiac. Well, Ushi, Ox, was second. Now, next to come was Tiger, Tora. Now, Tiger, he was fierce, and he knew he could run fast, and he intended to get there first. He left just when the sun came up, but he was really pretty upset when he saw Ox's rear end going in right ahead of him. He didn't even realize that Mouse was ahead of him. So Tora was third. Now, what he didn't realize was Rabbit was coming from the opposite direction at the same time. And Rabbit also thought, well, my legs are strong, and when I jump, I'll get there pretty quickly, but I'd better leave when the sun comes up. So as Rabbit hopped along, pyong, pyong, he saw Tiger. And knowing that tigers might eat rabbits, he hid in the grass, so that Tiger was third and Rabbit was fourth. Ichi ni san chi. Next to come, Snake, Hebi, and Dragon, Tatsu, arrived at the same time. Now, everyone knows that a dragon is like a snake who has studied and prayed and fasted for years and become sort of king of the snakes. So Snake said, oh, Dozo, please, Dragon. Dragon was next, and Snake, Hebi, number 6. Now, next to come was Horse, Uma. And Horse knew that he was fast. He kind of forgot, though, that he has to eat a lot, and he really likes to eat grass, so he'd trot along and then, oh, there's some grass, and eat the grass, and trot, 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 and eat some more grass. And sure enough, he was 7th to arrive. He was fast, but he did have to stop and eat the grass to keep going. Now, Sheep, Hitsuji, was next. Some say Ram. Hitsuji was next, and sheep are not native to Japan. So she couldn't decide. Shall I go? Shall I not? Will Sky God let me in? Or will Sky God say, no, 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 just Japanese animals? Yes? No? Oh, finally, Sheep mustered all his courage and went to the Sky God's gate, where Sky God welcomed him as the 8th animal of the zodiac. Now, I hate to even tell you this next part. Saru, monkey, and Inu, dog, came at the same time, and they quarreled all the way. They argued, they quarreled, they fought, they may have even punched a time or two, I'm not sure. They argued all the way there. And as everyone knows, arguing wastes a lot of time. Finally, handsome cock, co. He jumped up in between them and said, I am sick and tired of all that arguing. I will stand between you. Let's go. So Saru was next, monkey, cock, tori, and dog, Inu. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, shashi, hashi, kyu, ju, ju, ni, juichi. Well, Sky God said I intended for 12, but these look like 11 fine animals, so it's okay with me. And he began to close the gate. Oh, that impetuous wild boar came running up there. And you know he couldn't get along with anybody, but he wanted to be in the zodiac. So the wild boar said, please, 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 Sky God, you must let me in, please. I want to be in the zodiac. Now, Sky God thought maybe if he let him in, he would learn to cooperate. So Inoshishi, wild boar, became the 12th animal in the zodiac. And the Sky God closed the gate, and that's the 12 animals of the zodiac. Now you're probably thinking, where's the cat? Doesn't it seem like there should be a cat in there? Where's the cat? Well, there's another part I hate to tell you, because the cat lost her invitation, Neko. Neko lost her invitation, so she went to her friend Rat, and she said, Rat, I've lost my invitation. Nezumi-san, what day is the big party? Because I'd like to go. And he said, January 3rd, and told her one day late. So when Cat arrived at Sky God's gate the next day, there was no one there. Sky God noticed Cat and came out and said, Cat, what are you doing here? Cat said, I came to be in the zodiac. I'd like to be one of the animals chosen for the zodiac. Sky God said, oh, Neko, you must have been asleep. Go and wash your face and wake up. And to this day, cats wash their faces, and cats still chase rats for that mean trick. Oshimai.
Thank you so much, Nancy. So thank you so much in Japanese. How do I say that?
Arigato.
Arigato gozaimashita. Oh, that was so wonderful.
So Happy New Year's. Akimashita omedetou gozaimasu.
Okay, everybody, let's say that together.
Yeah, or in Pig Latin, Appy Hey Une Irie, or in sign language, Happy New Year. And you probably know some other ways to say it.
Thank you so much, Nancy. I always wanted to know why cats always wash their faces. Now we know.
Now you know.
Thank you. You were wonderful. Well, our next teller comes all the way from Austin himself. If he's not riding his bicycle up in the mountains of Estes Park, Colorado, Rocky Mountain National Park, you know, he's just about everywhere. noticing the environment, and including how important it is for us to take care of our world through his songs and through his stories. And look how handsome this young man is. We only include handsome and beautiful people ever. We do not discriminate. Lucas had made a comment that I just read today. So I wanted to make sure everyone was clear that everyone is so handsome and so beautiful that we do not discriminate at all. If you don't know Lucas, you will tonight. Just about every school and every library really want him during the summer programming and throughout the school year. He really has a wonderful message for the kids, and he does it in such a fun way, using songs and puppets, his own music, his own YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out, you need to. And you'll see exactly who Lucas is and what he's done to better our world. Without further ado, go for it, Lucas.
All right, thanks. It is so nice to be at a SASA meeting. I have not been at a SASA meeting since 2002. I used to live in San Antonio, and when I moved to Austin, it was a long way to drive. And yeah, I'm just glad to be. That's a good thing about the whole Zoom meeting phenomenon, right? There's all kinds of stuff that we can do now virtually and long distance while we're here in our home. So yes, I'm actually in, whoops, that was not what I was trying to show you. I was trying to show you that I'm really at home in front of my blue screen. So while it is springtime, I thought that I would do a springtime song or two. And pretty soon, I don't know, has anybody seen any bluebonnets yet? I haven't seen the flowers yet, but you know, the actual plant starts growing in the fall if you know what to look for. And I guess I'll show you what to look for if you don't know. Maybe you're new to Texas or something.
I saw here in San Antonio, I saw some bluebonnets when the weather got warm for weeks there back in November, December. I saw some bluebonnets in blossom.
Nice. Well, I'm still waiting. I always do a little happy dance when I see the first bluebonnets of the year, and that's usually sometime right about now. So keep your eyes open. And I teach about animals and nature with science, with songs and stories and stuff like that. And they will be blooming. Of course, a flower's job is making seeds. And to make a seed, they need pollen, which is hidden on this little cow horn looking thing right there, the very tip of that. If you look very closely, you'll see some kind of dusty stuff, and that is the pollen. And of course, bees come and visit the bluebonnets to pick up pollen and nectar. And you can see on this guy's back leg right there, a little balloon of pollen that it's stuffing back there. They get a good load full of pollen going from flower to flower. Get out of the way here. And then they go back to the hive and basically turn the pollen into food for their babies. And the nectar gets turned into honey. I was trying to show you some stuff that I'm not going to worry about. I don't have what I thought I had. Anyway, so I do a little bluebonnet song for you. And it kind of teaches you a little bit about pollination and all that kind of stuff, because that's what I'm all about, is teaching. And I am going to make myself a little smaller on the screen so that I don't block the graphics and the words and stuff. Texas springtime by the roadside, beautiful blanket of blue blossoms, so pretty. You plop your baby in 'em, or your girlfriend, you snap their photo, grinning like possums. Happy family, smiling for grandma with cowboy hats and their chihuahua. Makes it go, yee-haw! Is bluebonnet, is bluebonnet, bluebonnet time. Yeah, it's bluebonnet, it's bluebonnet, bluebonnet time. You Is it a long time and get a sore behind? Take a closer look at a blossom blue and bold. When there's a white spot, fresh pollen they've got, it turns purple when the pollen is getting old. Two petals cupped together like hands in prayer. Take a look inside and find the pollen in there. You can see it right there. Yeah, it's blue bonnet, it's blue bonnet. Blue bonnet time. Yeah, it's blue bonnet, it's blue bonnet. Blue bonnet time. The bees are breezing by your feet and knees, and with a buzzing sound they carry pollen round. Flowers receive it, and would you believe it? Then they can make the seeds. Thank those humble bees for blue bonnet time. So pretty. Warming up now, heat wave, holy cow. Pea pods appearing as the flowers are fading. Here come the month of June, seeds are popping out soon. Down in the soil they're patiently waiting. Yeah, for the earth to take another trip around the sun. Before you know it, another spring has sprung. And we're going, yeah, that's right, it's blue bonnet, it's blue bonnet. Blue bonnet time. Yeah, it's blue bonnet, it's blue bonnet. Blue bonnet time. There we go. A little blue bonnet song for y'all. All right. Any blue bonnet questions? So what you're seeing here is I do a lot of streaming performances for schools in the area and public libraries in the area. When we went into lockdown, it was clear pretty quickly that I needed to adapt. And so I got a whole studio set up with the blue screen and that kind of stuff. And I had a lot of the graphics that were ready to go for the shows. I do a lot of multimedia kind of stuff in my live show anyway, but it's been fun to make that adjustment. You want to do one more song? Do we have time for one more? All right, so we'll do one more. Okay,
Lucas,
so
can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
So on your blue bonnets, which I have in my backyard, come about the end of February or March.
Yep.
There's always some red, like a painted red dot on the blue bonnets, and I've been told that tells me that the bees had been there to pollinate it.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So it means that that kind of magenta spot comes along after a certain amount of time. So if a bee never found it, it's still going to turn red. But this is kind of cool. Flowers really do communicate with bees through colors, and bees really have a hard time seeing that particular color. So if they can't see it, they're probably not going to visit it. Something like the florets with a white spot get visited 100 times more often than one without. And real quick, I'll show you some cool stuff here. So this is what a flower looks like to us, but to a bee that can see ultraviolet light, it looks like that. So they have sort of a bullseye pattern that says, come and get the pollen. It's right here. So here's another one. Hang on, here's another one. So it looks like that to us, and it looks like that to a bee. Coolamunga, right? Yeah.
Lucas, I do talks for Master Gardener. I've been one for over 25 years, and I do a really good one on wildflowers. Nice. And I talk about insects having compound vision.
Yeah.
And being able to see in the spectrum and know how much nectar there are on flowers, butterflies, before they go to it. But I also talk about the hyperparasitic relationship between bluebonnets and the Indian paint blankets.
Interesting. I don't know anything about that.
Yes, they can take the nutrients away from, when the bluebonnets don't do well, it's usually because they're planted together with the Indian paintbrushes. and they're they're semi-parasitic, and they take the nutrients out of the bluebonnets, so they don't do very well when they're planted together out on the highway. So yeah, I do I do the Master Gardener talk on wildflowers, and I love talking about bluebonnets and about the maroon bluebonnet that the A&M tried to come up with for so long. Yeah, the Aggie bluebonnet.
They had to mess with nature.
Yeah, they had to mess
Bend nature to the A&M will. Cool, Amanga. Well, I learned something new there. I didn't know that they were parasitic. So we'll do one more song.
Semi-parasitic.
Semi-parasitic. We're going to do one more. And I'm kind of out of practice on this song, so hopefully I won't mess it up too bad. But it is about this handsome fellow here called the Prairie Chicken. And the Prairie Chicken does this amazing dance in the springtime, which I will just show you, and then we're all going to do our own impression of the bluebonnet dance. So here we go. They stomp their feet. You can watch their feet stomping up and down. They have these kind of these orange balloony things around their neck, and they inflate those, and then they bob their head up and down and stretch their neck out. That was not the best video I could have chosen for you to see that. And maybe we'll try. That was not going to be very good, I don't think. Let's try these guys. And this is their mating dance. So I'm getting ready to do a little Valentine's Day kind of stream for some schools that are tuning into my stuff. And I thought that I would work up the Prairie Chicken song. This is not one I play very often. Here we go. So they also, when two males see each other, they'll come at each other and they jump up really high in the air and they try to outdo the other one. And then the females are all kind of gathered around looking at them, like picking the best dancer. And trust me, he wants to be the best dancer, because the best dancer is the only one that gets to pass on his genes, if you know what I mean. So the Prairie Chicken dance goes like, I'm going to turn down my mic a little bit. I think I'm distorted. So I'm going to turn this down a little bit, and I think that will help. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. Well, spring has sprung and the prairie blooms. Those prairie chickens that dance and croon. They do a dance that you don't want to miss. That chicken choreography is something that you gotta see. The Prairie Chicken boogie goes like this. All right, now I would like everybody to help me out, please. Stick out your tail feathers. Stretch your neck way on out. Let me see it. Yeah. Poof up your cheeks real big. And then you stomp, stomp, stomp. And you jump, 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 and you strut your stuff like a hunk of chicken love. All right, here we go now. Well, I can't be bashful, I can't be shy. I got to prove that I'm the guy, the finest chicken papa in the land. Yeah, I'm ostentatious and outrageous. My chicken jig is just contagious. I do what it takes to win that lady's hand, or claw, or wing, or whatever she's got. Get ready now, here we go. Stick out your tail feathers, and you stretch your neck way on out. And then you poof up your cheeks real big. And you stomp, stomp it a stomp, and you jump, jump it a jump, and you strut your stuff like a hunk of chicken love. Well, you won't forget it if you witness their displays of chicken fitness. But here's a little word from me to you. Well, the prairie land we must protect. It is their chicken discotheque. All in favor, cock-a-doodle-doo. I said all in favor, cock-a-doodle-doo. Stick out your tail feathers, and you stretch your neck way on out. And then you poof up those cheeks real big. And you stomp, stomp and a stomp, and you jump, a jump and a jump, and you strut your stuff like a hunk of chicken love. All right, there we go. Prairie Chicken Boogie. Only messed it up a little bit. It's been a lot of fun.
Can you send a link to where we can Zoom? My grandkids can get on to watch you on Zoom or whatever.
Yeah, so I have a lot of stuff on YouTube. And I have a message ready to go for Mark Bobineau because he's an old friend of mine and I lost his email address. I haven't talked to him in a while. So if you look up Singing Zoologist on YouTube, you will find me. Nope, sorry, typing in the wrong thing there. There is my YouTube channel. And then I also, I got to decide what I'm doing this summer. I've got a Facebook channel. What was that? I missed that.
I don't know who talked.
That's all right. So yeah, I think that's probably the best place to start. And then I'll type in my email or my website. And if you want to subscribe to my series of science videos, I can set you up.
Thank you so much, Lucas. Lucas is also a teacher, you guys. So he has class tomorrow. And I'll
stick around for a while.
Enough. You were
amazing.
My
pleasure.
Yeah, he's going to stick around just a little bit, but we understand when you have to get ready for lessons tomorrow.
Where do you teach, Lucas?
My wife and I actually started a private junior high and high school back about 10 years ago. It's called Skybridge Academy in Dripping Springs.
Much, Lucas. You're amazing.
Thank you. Thanks. Been fun to be here.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and move on. Another good friend of ours, we got to meet at a workshop that San Antonio Storytellers had here at my house. Oh gosh, I don't know how many years ago, but this was the first time I got to meet Rick Davis. And, I pretty much fell in love with him once he told me how much he loved my labs and that he has a lab. And we're talking dogs here. Of course, they're not dogs to us. They are our children. And we love our dogs so much. But then I find out that Rick Davis is also a fabulous storyteller and such a gentleman. And he too is very handsome. And what's really kind of cool is it looked like Tim Tingle was mentoring him and probably a lot of other folks in the Austin area. And he has come unto his own. So Rick is now, he's telling folk tales, but he's also telling personal tales. And I understand he has a perfect story for this month of February where compassion and happiness and gratitude are really important to focus in on right now. So I'd like to thank Rick for being here. And Rick, take it away.
Thank you so much, Sue. Jack had a long commute into work each day. He rose very early, but that morning he was awakened by his phone. He could see there on the caller ID, it was his mother. Now answering, he heard his mother say, "Mr. Belser died last weekend. The funeral is Wednesday." Now, memories flashed through Jack's mind. Like an old newsreel, he sat remembering childhood days. His mother asked, "Jack, did you hear me?" "Oh, yes, sorry, Mom, I did. It's just been such a long time since I thought of Mr. Belser. I'm sorry, but I thought, honestly, he died years ago." Well, his mom told him, he didn't forget you, Jack. Every time I saw him, he would ask how you were. He'd remember and reminisce about many days that you spent over on his side of the fence, as he would put it. Jack hesitated, and then he said, "I loved that old house he lived in." His mom said, "Jack, after your father died, Mr. Belser stepped in. He made certain that you had a man's influence in your life." After a moment, Jack thought for a while, and he said, "He's the one who taught me carpentry. I wouldn't be an architect today if it was not for him. He spent a lot of time teaching me the things that he thought were important. Mom, I'll be there. I'll be there for the funeral." And as busy as Jack was, he kept his word, and he caught that next flight back to his hometown. Mr. Belser's funeral was small. It was uneventful. He had no children. Most of his family had already passed away. The night before he was to return home, Jack and his mother stepped next door to see that old house just one more time. Standing in the doorway, Jack paused for a moment. It was like crossing over into another dimension, a leap through space and time. The house was exactly as he had remembered. Every step held memories. Every picture, every piece of furniture. But then Jack stopped suddenly, and his mom asked him, "Jack, what is wrong?" And speaking in barely a whisper, Jack said, "The box is gone." Now his mother wanted to know, what box was that? And Jack told him there was a small gold box he kept locked up on the top of that roll-top desk. I must have asked him 1,000 times what was inside. All he would ever tell me is the thing I value most. And now it's gone. Everything about the house was exactly as he had remembered, except for that box. He figured that someone from the Belser family must have taken it. And he said to her, "You know, now I may never know what was so valuable to him. I'd better get the first flight home in the morning, Mom. It'll be an early night." It had been about 2 weeks since Mr. Belser died, and returning home from work one day, Jack found a note in his mailbox. It read, "Signature required on a package. No one at home. Please stop by the main post office within the next 3 days." Well, early that next day, Jack went directly to the post office and retrieved that package. The small package was wrapped in an old brown paper sack. It looked as if it had been mailed 100 years ago. The writing was difficult to make out, but the return address caught his attention. It read, "Mr. Harold Belser." As soon as he got back to the car, he ripped open that package, and there inside was that gold box and an envelope. And in the envelope, there was a note. His hands shook as he read that note. It said, "Upon my death, please forward this box and its contents to Jack Bennett. It is the thing I valued most in my life." A small key was taped to that note. Jack's heart now racing, his eyes welling up with tears, he carefully unlocked that box, and inside he found a beautiful gold pocket watch. Running his thumb slowly over the finely etched casing, he unlatched that cover. And inside, these words were engraved: "Jack, thanks for your time. Harold Belser." The thing he valued most in life was the time they shared. Jack held that watch for a few moments. Then he called his office manager and he cleared his calendar for the next 2 days. His manager asked, "Jack, what is it?" And he responded, "I need time to spend with my son." Our lives will not be measured by the number of breaths that we take, but by the moments that take our breath away. I want to thank the San Antonio Storytellers Association for inviting me and the privilege of telling you my story tonight. And I want to thank all of you, my wonderful listeners, for your time.
Oh, that was so wonderful. I think we're all trying to find our Kleenexes. Such a fabulous message. Oh, thank you so much, Rick. Was that your story?
No, I did not write that story.
Well, it was as if you did. You did so well. Thank you so much.
That's from the archives of StoryCorps.
Okay. I love it. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, thank you.
Put a smile on everybody's face. Speaking of smiles, I see Nathan Holiner smiling a huge smile right now. He got on kind of early and had a huge surprise for us. He actually wrote a poem, and I intentionally wanted him to come right after you, Rick, because I think it sounds like his poem will fit right into your story. So take it away, Nathan.
All right. Thank you, Sue. Now, this poem is a very special friend of mine that I met 8 years ago. And it's sure to warm your heart. I call this poem My Very Special Friend by me, Nathan Holiner. From the day we first met, which was not so long ago, we became the best of friends that no one else would know. I looked in your eyes from the very first sight, that you were perfect and that you were just right. Your eyes, how they sparkled, your cheeks were red as a rose, and your laugh and your smile tickled me right down to the tip of my toes. Since then, we had fun times, and what joy we would bring. And at the end of each day, we would break out and sing. And as time went on, our friendship grew and grew. And I said, there is no better friendship than between me and you. For our friendship was tall like a tree, and high like a mountain, and deep and wide like an ocean, and never stopped flowing like a river or fountain, and like flowers in spring and the birds that call, our bond blossomed and grew stronger and firm. There was no parting at all. I knew from the moment we met, it was just meant to be. And we shouted, hooray! There is no one else who is happier than we. Until, alas, we went our own ways, and it all came to an end. I was in a daze. But I will always remember you, no matter how far apart, for you are still my very special friend in a place in my heart. And that is my poem. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you all liked it.
Oh, Nathan, we didn't like it. We loved it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That makes me feel so happy inside.
You actually make us very happy. So thank you so much, Nathan. And like I told y'all, wasn't that a perfect poem to come right after Rick's story? I just, so much wonderful talent. Okay, we have a little over 10 minutes, and I'm hoping there might be one or two of you who would might have a tale you would like to share, a poem, a song, an anecdote. If you do, raise your hand. Hopefully I can see you. I see David and I see Mark. David, I think you were the first. So David Thompson.
Okay. Hey, everybody. David here from Austin. I've been doing a lot of reading into the Mesoamerican stories, and this one comes from the Mixtec. The Mixtec live in the lower part of Mexico, and this is Bat and the Rainbow. Poor Bat. Bat was small and tiny and brown, and he was ugly to himself, so he flew up to the Lord of Life, and he said, "Oh, I am so cold. He was lying, of course. I am so cold. Can you do something about it? And I'm ugly and I'm naked. And the Lord of Life said, I will do this. So he called all the birds of all the creations together. And he told each one to give to bat one of their feathers. There was the gray-green of the quetzal bird. There was the purple of the macaw. There was the pink of the ibis and the flamenco, gray and silver from the owls and the hawks. And there was down from the chicks, and they all fell down into a large mattress, large enough for a giant. Oh, Bat was overjoyed, and he went and he made himself a cape, and oh, he was beautiful. He was so beautiful, the birds forgot their songs. And he flew up. He flew up, and he all around, and he flew the thermal currents. And he looped and looped, and he dived, and he flew and back and forth. And oh, he went from the east all the way to the west. And the people who looked up saw these colors in the sky. They saw the first rainbow. But it went to Bat's head. He flew up to the hummingbird. I am more beautiful than you. He flew to the ibis and the flamenco. I am grander and more beautiful than you. And to each of the birds he went, the quetzal, to the hawks and the eagles and the owls. And oh, the birds were very tired of this. So they went to the Lord of Life and they said, Bat is bragging and bragging. He has stolen our song. Please do something. And Lord of Life agreed, reached out and caused rain to happen. And every time the drops of the rain hit the bat, the feathers began to fall back down to the earth. And soon Bat was naked and brown and ashamed, and he flew down into a cave. And that is why he only comes out at night, for he is naked and afraid. And when he flies out, he's looking for his feathers. However, after each thunderstorm and you see the colors in the sky, remember to thank Bat for bringing the rainbow. And remember, he too had his moment of glory.
Such a wonderful tale. Thank you so much, David.
Fantastic.
Yeah. David, what was the origin of that tale? Did you tell us?
It's from the Mixtec. They were a small group. There's about 80,000 still left. But the Mixtec were known for their gold and their silver work and their jewelry. And when the Aztecs conquered them and absorbed them into their Aztec empire, the Mixtec had to pay tribute of gold and silver and jewels and, well, bodies. But we all know about that. That's another story.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, never heard that before. Those bats. Okay, we do have time. Is there anyone else who would like to share a tale? I think I saw Mark's hand go up. Mark Bobineau? That's a no? I can't hear you, Mark.
Unmute.
I said no, I didn't have a story. It was just something I wanted to share, but not a story.
Would you like to share it?
Well, yes, just something I'd like to share. A week ago, they're doing construction behind my house. 4 houses are going up, so I've been fighting with them for almost a year. And I was coming down the street in my car, and there was paper just all over the street and on my sidewalk, and I'm the only one with a trash can. So I said, oh my God, where did this come from? So I started picking everything up. And as I'm picking it up, I'm thinking, these papers seem to be important. It was like a person's life. I saw bills and statements from the bank and a transfer of title. And I thought, I don't think I should throw this away. So I picked everything up and I brought it in the house. It was so filthy, I just left it in the utility room. So I text a message to this guy, Jason Edgington. And I just said, I think I have some of your documents here. Never heard from him. And so last week it was bugging me. And I thought, oh, that was 2 weeks ago. I said, I'm gonna go back through the papers. And there was an email, and I sent an email, nothing. So last night I was sitting down and the phone rang and guy said, did you call me? I said, I don't know. Who are you? He said, I'm Jason. I said, nope, doesn't sound familiar. He said, oh, well, you left a message, but I don't remember the message. I said, okay. He said, I'll listen to it again and I'll call you back. I'm in traffic. I said, all right. So he hangs up and I said, oh, Jason. Anyway, long story, I'm kind of rambling. He had his car stolen and those were all the documents that was in his glove compartment. And he could not file a police report because the bill of sale was still in the car. And I still had the bill of sale and he came over last night. And I gave him all his work, and he just thanked me. And I just thought, what is one person's trash, is it's kind of a person's life, And I was just so glad that I didn't decide just to throw it away. I've been fighting with everyone across the street, and I thought, you know what, I just need to relax a little bit, and it just made me smile. So I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Mark, you're like an angel on earth. Thank you so much.
Just made me feel good. Not,
Yep. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. That's like a personal tale that kind of helps us all out to smile. So thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I do have like 5 more minutes, and unless I see a hand, is there anyone else who'd like to share a short? Yeah. Oh, I see Jane. Absolutely, Miss Jane. Go ahead and unmute.
I have a very short story. It's a family story which just came to me this week. It's how Mick O'Connor met my dead grandfather. Now, the Irish, we believe in the afterlife, in a lot of afterlives, but this was a really strange one. My sister had her first boyfriend was called Mick. Elizabeth loved him. But Mick got a friend of his in trouble and had to marry her. They had twins, and he vanished from Liz's life. My mother grew up in a house down on the River Shannon. It was a house with lots of nooks and crannies and rooms in places where you didn't expect them. And Mick moved in there because, just like my mother's mother, the person who owned the house was renting out rooms. And he had a big fight with his wife after 14 years, and he decided it was a bad idea, and he moved into this house. And he lived in a room halfway up the stairs, one of those sideways rooms, we call them. And when he came to visit us when my father died, I told you this was a family story. When he came to visit us when my father died, he came in the back door. In Ireland, when somebody dies, you don't come in the front door, you go in the back. And he came around the back and into the kitchen, and he sat in the living room, and I had been out. And when I came in, he was telling my mother about living in this house, and she recognized it. She spent a lot of her childhood there. And he said, she was asking him in the Irish way, and how do you like it? And what are your neighbors like? And do you feel happy there? And without really asking him what she really wanted to ask, which was, why did you fight with your wife? And I hope Liz doesn't come in the house here. So he was describing where he was living. And he said, well, there's a man who comes to the house always, and he's really very quiet. He comes and he sits in a chair. I have a rocking chair in my room, and he sits in that chair in the corner. And my mother said, so who is he? It's often, that the Irish visit each other. And he said, well, I don't know who he is. He just comes, and he's an older man with white hair. He's got a mustache and a bit of a beard. More of a mustache, really. It's really funny because it's waxed and it sticks out on either side like that. And I looked to my mother, and she was suddenly very, very quiet, this woman who talks a lot. And the hair on the back of her neck was standing up. And she said, and he never says anything? And Mick said, no, he never says anything. He just sits there. He'll hum a bit if I have music on, especially classical, orchestral. Mick did like some good music. But he never says anything. And then he gets up and he goes away again. And very soon the conversation turned to other things, what was going on. And after Mick left, my mother said just one sentence to me. She said, you know what? My father died in that chair. That mustache, my father had a mustache just like that. And then the hair on the back of my neck stood up. That's my story. Woo!
Yes. And you know, honestly, I think a lot of us have those stories. So thank you for sharing yours. It may give me time to put mine together at some point. Thank you, Jane. And thank you, every one of you, for being here, especially those of you where this is your first time to join us. We certainly had wonderful tellers, and we always seem to get a crew, and we love story lovers who come to listen, but we also love the tellers who want to share a little anecdote or tell you've been working on a story, a poem. You're all very, very welcome, and we would love to have you back. And I see that John posted, don't forget, we meet the first Wednesday of every month. You can come on in the Zoom at around 6:45 and we'll start at 7. It's a short hour, so I don't want to go. You guys are wonderful. You can unmute.